Hey there folks, John here, and I came home to a pleasant surprise yesterday sitting on my doorstep. The Retro Fighters Brawler64 controller. It's a third-party controller for the N64. Is it worth it? Let's find out. Okay, so like I said, we got the Brawler64 controller here. This is from a company called Retro Fighters. And they're a fairly new company. They actually did a Kickstarter for this controller. And they've done some other ones in the past, and they've actually been pretty quality, pretty good reviews. But they did a Kickstarter for this, and I saw this right after I had tried to play through, I think it was Yoshi's Story again, on my N64, and I realized, you know what, my controller is garbage now. Those old controllers, the analog sticks are going, and a lot of times they aren't even worth fixing. So I figured, you know what, let's try something new. So I went ahead and backed this on Kickstarter. This is the Kickstarter version of it. I believe further releases of this is in the light gray. I believe further releases of it are probably going to come out in more colors than this. But anyways, I want to go ahead and do a review on it, since I figured not a whole lot of people probably had these things yet, since it was, again, just a Kickstarter project. A lot of them are back ordered till May. I'll actually put a Castlemania Games link down in the description, where you can actually go buy your own. But right now they're on back order. I don't expect that to last too long. But anyways, rather than just sit here and tell you guys about the controller, which, by the way, here it is, I figured I would go ahead and test out the controller with some games live, so you guys can actually see what's going on, see my feedback firsthand. So before I do that, I showed you guys the box. I do just want to show you the manual here that came with it. Really simple packaging, but you know what? It's actually a pretty cool manual. You can see right there. And then you've got, let's see, you got the other side here too. Hold on. So, right there. So pretty cool, actually, manual. They didn't really have to do anything for a manual, but they did. Presentation counts for a lot. So you can tell a lot of care went into this product. But without further ado, let's test it out with some games and see how it does. Alright, so here we are. I got my Retro Fighters controller right here, and sitting a little awkwardly because I'm recording my my button presses over there. You guys can see that as we're doing this. So if I look like I'm hunched a little weird, that's fine. I'm also using my my Twitch stream overlay for this because it just formatted well for this sort of thing. So you probably see that little chat label up there above where the controller is. Ignore that. Probably not going to be there later. Or if it is, that just means I didn't have time to take it out because I wanted to get the review up. So, yeah, that's what I got. So I got Mario 64 pulled up here in our glorious 4x3 because that's what it should be for the N64. And got your controller right here, right there. You can see a few interesting things about the controller already. You've got that octagonal direction thing that they did with the GameCube controller, which is really awesome. Really gonna help out with Smash Brothers and a couple other things. You got a D-pad here. You can see the D-pad's actually a little bigger than it was on the N64 controller, and it's rounded at the edges. Still pretty clicky, pretty good. This is your turbo button. You can make any button a turbo button, which I guess would be useful like Star Fox, that sort of thing. And then your clear button, which will clear the turbo button. The one thing that I noticed that I don't, you know, this is actually shaped like an Xbox 360 controller, and it feels pretty good. You got your two triggers right there. Both of these are Z. And then you got L and R, which L is hardly ever used in pretty much any N64 game. But R is used a good bit. The one thing that I don't like, though, is the A and B are kind of shifted down this way a little, and I get why they had to do that, because you know, you've only got so much real estate on the controller, and you know, these C buttons right here take up a lot of that. So and they did make the C buttons bigger than they are on the original controller, so I get where the real estate thing comes from. But for me, even though I have stubby fingers, it still feels a little awkward for me to bring all the way down here for A and B. If I have a complaint, that's the only one so far. Might find some other stuff as I play. As you can see, I've got Mario 64 pulled up. We're going to do Mario 64. We're going to run it through the gamut. We got Smash Brothers here because we got to check out those fast twitch reflex things. Got GoldenEye. I don't know how far I'll actually play into GoldenEye, but I am curious how it plays since it's the old style first-person shooter. And then Mischief Makers, which is something that makes heavy use of the D-pad right here. So those are our test games. Probably not going to play any of them for more than 2 or 3 minutes, but just to see how it goes. So let's go ahead and start on Mario 64. We're going to go to my 120 star file here. Oh, well, see, and I already did it. I already trying to hit A, hit down C, which I found myself doing some. So that's something to be aware of. It's not a big deal once you shift your finger down here, but you do have to shift your thumb down and take that into account. So we have Mario running around here. It's pretty responsive. Control stick feels nice. Feels a little bit. I kind of would like my control stick to have a little more weight. It's a very light controller. But you can see I'm performing all the acrobatics that are due a Mario game here pretty easily. It's not really anything hard. You got your punch, kick. What is nice really about this octagonal limitation of the controller here, you can push it into all the different points of the controller, which makes it really easy to do turn jumps and that sort of thing. Because you know that you're really locking the thing into place. Well, anyways, let's go in Peach's Castle. Let's go to a platform heavy level. Maybe the first Bowser level. Alright. Let's actually try to get through here without being stupid. No, that's not how you do it. Playing a little too much Mario Odyssey. There's some definite control differences. Oops. It was almost impressive. Mario has a lot of momentum. He's very slippery in this game, which is not what you expect. So here, every now and again, I'm finding that this control stick's actually a little too sensitive for me. Maybe I've just gotten used to the sluggishness of my my stock N64 controller, but and you'll see me diving in the air a decent amount. That's actually not on purpose, really. I've been playing too much Mario Odyssey, trying to stay on that frame there so I don't fall down. I've been playing a little too much Mario Odyssey because if you ever shoot or jump in Mario Odyssey, you just hit B to throw Cappy and it freezes you in the air, and then you're good to go. Alright, so I'm going to use my Z right there. Alright, let's go fight Bowser. Alright. Wah, 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 wah. Alright. Yeah, this is a little funny. Alright, now we're going to test the... Yep, oh, that didn't work. Oh, apparently somehow it did work. Never mind. Oh no, I had this plan, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, so Mario 64. Really good for Mario 64. I think the movement issues I'm having are more due to my... excuse me, my rustiness with this game than the controller. It's actually working pretty well, I think. So, sure, we'll save and continue. And let's move on to something else. So, we'll go from Mario 64 to, let's say, we'll do Smash. So we got Smash Brothers here. Alright, there we go. It's a familiar screen to a lot of people. I don't play the Smash Brothers that much anymore. Alright, so we'll do a little one-player game here. I'll choose Ness because he's the best character. No arguments. You can argue with me in the comments if you want, but... Alright, Ness versus... I think I used to kill people with Ness in this game, but then I played Melee competitively in college. It kind of ruined me for this game. Alright, so we have some... Alright. Actually, this is nice for Smash. having a real clicky controller like this is something that I have not had for this game in a long time. This game is actually kind of fun to play now. Ah! Get out of here, Link. Oh, that's right, you can't charge smashes in this game. Alright, let's go one more. Try again to hold the controller so you guys can see the button inputs a little bit better. A little hard in this game, though, because of the angle that I'm playing. Alright, Yoshis. And so this is a game where the C buttons are really used for a specific purpose, meaning jumping. So you kind of have to be aware of what you're doing. They have to work real well, and right now they do. This is the best that N64 Smash has felt for me in a long time. I dare say, I mean, it's been years, of course, that this feels better than it did to play it on the original controller at the time when it was released. Just because it has the precision. I don't know that it's quite to the level of a GameCube controller, but it feels a lot like a GameCube controller on the level of precision I'm getting out of what I'm doing here. Alright, let's do the ultimate test. And that's just me expecting it to go slower than it is in this game. Alright, let's try it again. There we go. Yep, alright. Good lateral movement on this controller. Yeah, looking good on Smash Brothers, guys. Great. Gotta love that intro. That thing's awesome. Alright, let's give it a shot. Rare. Man, that used to be the gold standard. These guys suck now. Although Sea of Thieves looks pretty fun. Alright. So we're gonna go, looks like we'll go Agent. So that's the easy mode, and I suck at this game right now. And we'll start. Gotta go to the dam. I mean that opening cutscene, or that ending cutscene with them jumping off the dam. Everybody remembers that. 9 years ago. So I've noticed on my HDMI converter, the blacks, the dark parts of the image seem to be very crushed. So like, there's not a lot of detail in any of the shadows or anything like that. Alright, so we got the weird strafey controls. Ooh, this is. Ooh, okay. Okay, alright, hold on. Alright. This controller, again, very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. So let's see if I can adjust the sensitivity. It's been that long since I played this game. It does not look like I can do that. Oh boy. Alright guys, this is gonna look like a monkey shooting a handgun. It is kind of nice to be able to fire with both triggers. Alright, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do the Soviet. See, there I go, hitting the C buttons again. Alright, yeah. Let's do the spray and pray, man. Get out of here. I will say, this is another game where I'm really digging the octagonal slots. See, I can't see these. That's awesome, because it's the only thing that's keeping me going straight right now. I mean, it's responsive, maybe a little bit too much. Let's go up this tower. Well, maybe not. Oh boy. So, full disclosure, I always actually like Perfect Dark more. Oh, look at that body armor. Sure I need that. Get out of here. I always like Perfect Dark more than GoldenEye. I mean, obviously, I loved GoldenEye when it first came out, but there we go. Yeah, Perfect Dark always floated my boat a bit better. Man, it's so sensitive. So yeah, so if I can make one change about this controller, one like legit gripe, there is no resistance on this analog stick whatsoever. I mean, it's really hard to make like precise moves with it, which I know the GameCube controller doesn't have much of that either, so that's not really a major complaint. But I guess being shaped like an Xbox controller, I kind of expect that. So like when I hit it, it really slams quickly, and there's not a lot of, I don't know why I let the truck through. You don't really have to let the truck through. There's not a lot of resistance, and so if you got shaky fingers like I do, it's kind of a problem. Now we got Mischief Makers. And for those that don't know what this game is, you really should, if you played anything on the N64 at all. This is a super anime-esque side-scrolling platform from Treasure, where you don't really have any weapons other than throwing stuff and grabbing whatever's around you. So you can grab guns and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a really weird game, but really fun. The main reason that I wanted to test this one out is this one makes exclusive use of the D-pad for moving around. It doesn't use the analog stick at all. So I really wanted to test out the D-pad, see how it works, see if it's worth using for a game like this, because my D-pad on my stock N64 controller is pretty mushy. So yeah, so let's press start. If you're interested in this game, for real, I actually have a Let's Play of this up on the channel. It's been up for a while, but that doesn't mean that it's not still good, I guess. So let's do, let's just go to, let's see, Clan Ball. That'll be a good one to test things out. Boys and girls, this is the greatest place on the planet. Welcome to Clan Ball Land. Wow, Dad, this is the Clan Ball Land. That's right, son, the theme park full of thrills and action. Follow me, son. Sure, Dad. I only did the voices on the second part. Alright, so this is gonna take a little getting used to. This D-pad, again, as I said before, is bigger than the original one was. So my finger feels like it's traveling a bit too far here, but that's okay. So the reason why I wanted to use this is because in the best way to boost, you can rocket boost up and over, but the easiest way to move in this game is to tap the D-pad over and over again, left and right. The reason why I wanted to try this controller out is because you abuse the D-pad in this game. And yeah, so basically the idea is you grab things, you shake them. So I got a star right here. I grab the star, it's going to teleport me. So like, I grab this, oops, grab this, and then it bounces me up. And you can see you're probably starting to see why I said this is the perfect level to test this on. Whee! Gotta say, button placement, maybe if I hold this down like this a little bit more, then I'm gonna have a hard time reaching the triggers. Button placement feels a little funny to me. My left thumb is cramping just a little bit here. Ah. Oh, and see, I knocked the little kid off of the clan ball. So now they're mad at me. They're not really mad at me so much as they're crying on the ground. Alright, so that was my test of the Retro Fighters controller, and I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised with what I found, other than the stuff that I mentioned, which, one of the big pros, and I forgot to mention it before just because I didn't have anything to plug it in handy, it does have the expansion slot back there in the back for, like if you want to do a memory pack or a rumble pack. Both of those work. However, the transfer pack for like Pokemon Stadium does not work in this thing, and they're very clear about that in the manual and on the website. So if that's what you're planning on using this for, I don't think that's probably a big subset of the market. It's probably not going to work for you, so just be aware of that. Otherwise, I really like the 8-sided analog stick thing they got going on here where you can see, let me see if I can get the camera to focus on it here. Oh, did it do it? Yeah, there it did. So now you can see the, that 8-sided, see how there's 8 points right there? Kind of like the GameCube controller has. That is awesome for something like Smash Brothers, where you've actually got to have these really, really precise inputs. So if you play a lot of Smash 64, this is an amazing controller, and the buttons are very responsive. These C buttons are actually bigger than on the original N64 controller, specifically for Smash Brothers. That's why they did it that way. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, overall, it's just a really good feeling controller. Some cons though, button placement. I feel like these A and B buttons are a little bit too low, and I get why they did it, because they made the C buttons bigger, and it's actually a different form factor controller. There's less real estate to begin with, so I get why they did it. But for me, I feel like the natural place for your thumb to rest is somewhere right along in here, where the left C button and the bottom C button are. I feel like these are a little bit too low, and I've actually got to shift my thumb down further than I should have to. It's just something to get used to. It's not a big deal. But it is something that kind of threw me off at the beginning. Other thing, these buttons, even though you can actually see the A and the B and all that other stuff right there, these buttons are actually really, really, really flat. There's not any texture to them at all. So if you're just sitting here playing, it's actually pretty hard to figure out what button you're on, because the B button and the A button are almost the exact same size as the C buttons. So it takes a little getting used to. That messed me up in Smash Brothers a couple times, but I'm sure that's something you could overcome. I think the biggest gripe that I have is I tried to play Mischief Makers here with it, and that's a game that primarily uses the D-pad right here for its inputs. And for me, bringing my hand down here, my thumb down here to use this D-pad was pretty uncomfortable. And on the original N64, where you would hold your hand in relation to where the D-pad would be, it would actually be more like right here where the analog stick is, which is a great positioning, and that feels great. But this D-pad, a little low for me, and my finger was actually cramping by the end of that level, as I think I said. Other than that, those are my only gripes about this controller. Would I buy it again? I absolutely would buy it again. I think it's $29.99 is the MSRP on this thing. I'm sure you can get it a little bit cheaper if you use a coupon code or something like that. Absolutely 100% worth the money. And it feels super solid. Build quality is really great. Most of the stuff that I complained about, really, really minor complaints. Oh, the other thing that I really, really like, again, for Smash Brothers, this is a rubberized analog stick. So the top is rubberized. It's not that plastic. Everybody has that thumb drift where you're playing GoldenEye or something like that, and you're going forward for a while, and your thumb will kind of drift up this way, and then you'll have to reset it. Not really a problem on this controller, because you got that rubberized thumbstick, so that's really cool. And that's about all I got for this controller. Again, would I buy it? I buy it again? Yeah, I probably would. I might actually buy a second one just for two-player stuff, because it is that good, and it does feel really good. Other than those little gripes, I was a little disappointed with that D-pad placement. Really kind of uncomfortable to play. And the texture of the buttons, I could do with some more texture on the buttons. But other than that, this is a fantastic controller and totally worth the money, so definitely go pick it up. So if you like the video, go ahead and mash that subscribe or that like button, leave a comment, just generally interact. It's been a while since I've done a proper video like this, so let me know what you thought, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.